Welcome to The Explainer. If you've ever thought that growing your own food requires months of patient waiting, endless weeding, and some massive backyard, well, prepare to have your mind completely blown. Today, we're looking at the ultimate seed-to-plate sprint. We are going to explore exactly how you can go from dry, tiny seeds to harvesting crisp, fresh greens in as little as 3 days. And the best part? You can do this right inside your own home. Okay, let's dive into this. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering fastest harvests, germination secrets, indoor hacks, regrowth techniques, and finally, post-harvest preservation. Let's get to it. Now, I really want you to think about this question for a second. How is it actually biologically possible to harvest clean, nutritious vegetables in just 72 hours? I mean, it completely challenges the traditional farming timeline we're all so used to, right? But as we're going to see from our sources, by manipulating things like moisture, light, and your harvesting methods, you can essentially hack the plant's growth cycle. All right, Section 1, Fastest Harvests. Let's take a look at these hyper-fast crops. If you're an impatient gardener or just an urban dweller with limited space, the turnaround here is absolutely incredible. On day 3, literally 72 hours in, you're already eating plump bean sprouts. By day 8, you've got vibrant purple mustard microgreens. Day 10 hands you sweet, crunchy pea shoots, and by day 14, you're harvesting baby lettuce and water spinach. Seriously, this isn't science fiction, this is just highly optimized growing. Moving right along to Section 2, Germination Secrets. This is how we force that hypergrowth. Look, to get a harvest in days rather than months, you can't just toss seeds in the dirt and hope for the best. The absolutely crucial point is how you wake that seed up. Our sources highlight what's known as the legendary ratio for seed soaking. It's exactly this. Mix 2 parts boiling water with 3 parts cold water. This creates the perfect warm temperature shock that rapidly cracks the seed's hard outer shell. Oh, and here's a pro tip for you. Mixing just a tiny bit of nano fertilizer into this water provides a massive nutrient boost the exact second that seed opens up. Okay, so once your seeds are soaked and placed on their growing medium, you're going to do 2 things that sound, frankly, completely counterintuitive. First, you plunge them into total darkness. Second, you place a literal heavy weight directly on top of them for the first 3 days. Sounds crazy, right? But why? Well, the darkness forces the plant to stretch out frantically looking for light, while the heavy weight forces the roots to dig super deep into the substrate. This builds incredibly thick, strong stems as they push that weight up. Now, when it comes to watering these densely packed little trays, you've got a choice to make. Top watering, sprinkling water directly over the leaves, often leads to mold, dampness, and fatal rot in your microgreens. But bottom watering, where you pour water into a tray underneath the plant so the roots just pull it up naturally, that is the ultimate secret. It keeps the roots perfectly hydrated while the leaves stay entirely dry and disease-free. Section 3, Indoor Hacks. Because, hey, zero backyard is needed for this. If you're crammed into a tiny apartment, this hack is a total game changer. It's a brilliantly simple zero-water bean sprout method. You basically take a dark pot to block all the light, lay down a thick, thoroughly wet towel, drop in your soaked mung beans, and just cover it up. That towel holds enough moisture that you don't even need to rinse them daily. In just 72 hours, you'll pull out thick, pristine, white bean sprouts. It's so efficient it almost feels like cheating. And here are 2 more absolute indoor champions. Did you know you can grow green onions without a single grain of soil? Yep, just line them up directly on a wet towel in a tray, and within 2 weeks, they're ready to chop. Meanwhile, purple mustard microgreens absolutely thrive indoors in clean coco peat. But to get that really rich, antioxidant-packed purple color inside, our sources note you need an exact 17-hour cycle under an LED grow light. Section 4, Regrowth Techniques. Let's talk about maximizing that yield. You definitely don't want to just rip your new indoor bounty out of the dirt. You want multiple harvests from the same plant. This is called the cut and come again method. Take water spinach, a really fast-growing favorite. You never pull the roots. Instead, you cut the stem about 2 to 3 centimeters above the bottom node. That little node acts like a regeneration point, and a brand new stem will shoot right out of it. Same goes for baby lettuce. Just snap off the large outer leaves and leave the inner core intact. For pea shoots, just snip right above the lowest node, and it'll branch right back out in days. Now for amaranth, which loves warm weather and grows incredibly fast, there's this really specific physical hack. You literally pinch off the main top stem of the plant. By removing that top growing point, you trigger this cool biological response that forces an absolute explosion of side branches. So instead of just one tall, stringy stem, you get this massive, bushy plant that provides continuous harvests all summer long.
Finally, Section 5, post-harvest preservation. We have to keep those greens crisp. The journey definitely doesn't end the second you make the cut. These hyper-fast greens are super delicate, and they're mostly water. So the rules for preservation start the literal moment you harvest. You've got to harvest either in the cool early morning or late afternoon to avoid heat stress. Never ever harvest during or immediately after rain, because that excess moisture breeds mold instantly. And crucially, once cut, never let the vegetables touch the soil. You want to completely prevent cross-contamination from microbes. If you remember only one single thing about storage from this explainer, make it this number right here. 10 to 15. That is how many times longer your vegetables will last if you subject them to immediate, rapid cooling compared to just leaving them out on the counter at room temperature. Seriously, every day you delay getting them cold effectively shaves 9 to 10 days off their total shelf life. Don't let your hard work wilt. Before storage, commercial growers use some highly specific washing techniques, and the science here is actually pretty fascinating. While chloramine is stable, it does leave behind nitrogen byproducts. Analyte is a cheap, strong oxidizer, sure, but ozone water, specifically at a concentration of 0.4 to 3 milligrams per liter, gets the highest praise. It simply dissolves in water, absolutely destroys pathogens and spores, removes bad odors, and, crucially, it doesn't leave behind any toxic chemical byproducts at all. It's incredibly safe. Okay, the very last step to keeping those greens crisp is the packaging. First, you've got to spin dry the leaves for 3 to 5 minutes to get rid of any surface water. Then, pack them in polyethylene or PE bags. But here is the trick, and it's a big one. The bags must have exactly 10 to 12 small holes. This allows the living plant tissue to breathe without suffocating, while still maintaining that super high 85 to 98% humidity environment in your cooler to prevent them from wilting. Well, there you have it. We've covered the legendary soaking ratios, the dark incubation hacks, the regrowth tricks, and the exact science of keeping your harvest perfectly fresh. Growing your own nutrient-packed food isn't some months-long ordeal anymore. It really is just a matter of days. So look around your place right now. What unused container sitting in your house could become your very first seed tray tonight? Grab some seeds, soak them in that warm water, and start your own 3-day sprint. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy growing!